Hey YouTube, I'm back. My main plan for this video is just to answer a lot of unanswered questions that I went through my YouTube videos and saw that were unanswered. I think a lot of people misunderstand a lot of things when I talked about group homes in my other video, and I would like to clear up some. So I have some questions on my laptop that I'd like to go ahead and just jump right in. So yeah, let's get started. First question is, can you be with your siblings? This is kind of hard to answer only because it's different everywhere, but I do know from the beginning when it is time for you to be removed from your parents, they do try to put you into a family member's home or whatnot, and if not, they do always try to keep you with your siblings. The only hard thing about this is when moving into a foster home, which is different from a group home, and we'll get into that. When moving into a foster home, they only have a certain amount of kids they're allowed to have. So for instance, my very first foster home, she was only allowed to have 6 kids. Now, say you go to a foster home and she already has 5 kids and you have a brother with you and yourself. She can only take 1. So therefore, they would either look for another foster home or you would have to get separated. Group homes, you cannot be with your sibling unless it's 2 sisters or 2 brothers, only because they don't allow men and women in the same house. And you guys, from common sense, you would understand why. Allegations, so forth, if you don't know. So yeah, they do try to keep you with your siblings, but it's not always gonna happen, sad to say. So number 2 is, can you go outside and do outdoor activities? If it's a foster home, probably most likely. Group homes, you're supposed to. They have this thing called the Normacy Act, which I've spoke about before, where you are supposed to live your life like you would at home in a healthy home. Being able to go have friends, go outdoors, do activities, whatever you would possibly do if you were with your family. But that doesn't always happen. A lot of things get misconstrued. The system itself is pretty crappy, and they don't follow rules or guidelines, and that's an issue we're having today and we're still working on. So if your staff member, whatever you call them, in your group home does not allow you to, remember to tell them that there is such thing as a Normacy Act and that needs to be abided by. So 3, can you have a phone? Most places, no. My second group home, we had our phone as soon as we walked in the door, and we were always allowed to keep it unless we did something bad. Just like you were at home, if you did something bad, you'd probably get your phone taken away. The second group home I had went into, they will take your phone away. They tried to take my phone away for 15 whole days. They won't let you outside. And if you do, you have to gain their trust. After 15 days, you can go outside and you can get 15 minutes. And every 15 minutes, you would have to come back and check in. But who's gonna do that? I can't even walk the block in 15 minutes. So there was no point in me even going outside. I only stayed there for a day because I ran away. And yes, I ran away. Crazy, right? That is a video for another time because that's a long one. Can you speak with your family? It all depends on what your case is. If you have no supervision, contacts allowed, which means it needs to be supervised with somebody, or if you have a no contact order at all, most likely not. And a lot of kids do have that, and not me being a rule breaker, but there's always time where you can find to talk to your family. Just make sure you don't say too much and it doesn't get back to anybody else, because you don't want to get yourself in trouble. Can you go to school? Yes, you have to go to school just like any other child. Most cases you will get picked up by the bus and dropped off by the bus because they're too lazy and just don't really care about anything else by taking someone to school. But bus is for everybody. I rode the bus for the longest, even when I was living with my family, the bus was a thing. So but say you wake up one day and you are late for school or you miss the bus, your ass is grass. you're probably going to get in a lot of trouble, and there's probably going to be a lot of consequences, because foster homes, they just don't really care about you or your well-being. They care about money, and that can affect them and get them in trouble, and you don't want to get them in trouble. So my next one is, can you do homeschooling? Absolutely not. If you are in a group home and you have not been kicked out of school, you have to go to school. They don't care if you don't like school or you do bad in school, whatnot. You are to go to school, because they do not want to be responsible for you when you are at home. Simple. Now there are some group homes that take in kids who are very disobedient, who are most of the time expelled from every school, so they do have to sit there and do homeschooled, or they would go to the DCF, CPC, CPS office and do their school there. Can you get adopted being in a group home? And to be honest with you, that is their main goal. Most people are not supposed to be aged out of group homes because they need more kids coming in. And if you want to know how that happens, they take a picture of you, they post it, and write a little stupid biography on you, kind of like those commercials with the sick dogs and how they need to be adopted. Same thing. But you'll see most of us won't get adopted, because as teenagers, they get this mindset or just their own opinion from other people that we are bad, that we will never change, when in actuality, we just want real love and just know that somebody's not going to abandon us again. But yes, most of the time you will age out of a group home, just like I did. Are you allowed to work? Most of the time, no, unless you're around the age of 17 and you're about to be 18 and aging out, which leads to my another question. When do you age out? You age out at 18. I had trouble when it came to working, because the foster parent that I was with, it was more of a group home because she held multiple people, but there was only 2 of us. She would get mad because she would take me to work. So it got to the point where I would just walk to work. It did affect my schooling because I was working so much. I was working 40 hours at 17 years old, which is illegal, but hair stores don't really seem to care about that. And yeah, it was just a disaster. I would really recommend just focusing on school and don't worry about work until after the fact. But yes, you can work. You just got to speak with your caseworker, most likely, then with your staff member or your foster parent. How many staff is in your shift? Well, it all depends on what group home you're in. The second group home I was in, there was probably like 6 staff, and they would change. Maybe one person stays till 12 a.m. and then another stays till 5, and so forth. My very first group home, there was only 2, and they were sisters. They were called Aunt Weed and Aunt Sandy, and they are still my aunties today. I love them dearly. Definitely still had my ups and downs in that group home. I mean, it's gonna happen. You're in a house full of 6 other girls. And you're gonna make teenage decisions that are gonna get you in trouble, just like any other teenager would if they were at home. But your punishment is more, because you doing stupid things can get your staff members in trouble, because they had trust in you, and you misplaced their trust. And yeah, it can get really bad if you don't listen, you don't follow directions. What I say, my advice is, when you get put into a group home, focus on your school, yourself. Do not make friends. Your friends are your staff members, because at the end of the day, those are the only people who are going to be there for you. Sometimes that can be hard too, because staff members can be really, 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 really hard to deal with. So yeah, on to the next question is, are you allowed visitors? Most of the time, no. You're not allowed visitors if you are in a group home. If so, it has to be court mandated. They have to be background checked and fingerprinted, which can also piss off your staff members, because now people are coming in, and I don't know, they're just snobby and just don't really care about who your family is. Once you're in the system, they think your whole entire family is just a piece of crap, which is not true. So you are allowed visitors, but it has to be court mandated. Just as a friend, I had a close friend that I wanted to see. They ended up having to get background checked and fingerprinted in order for me to see them, stay the night. Most of the time you cannot stay the night anywhere, but the very first group home I was in was like a home. They tried their best to treat you like this is a home, and they definitely did follow the Normacy Act. So the next one is, do you help with chores? Sweetheart, you do all the chores. They don't do nothing. You do all the chores. And your next question might be is, do you get paid for those? Well, my very first group home, I got paid $15 every 2 weeks. By the time I ended up going shopping and getting my razors, my shampoo, conditioner, it was gone. That's the only way you can make money. Now, the second group home I went to, you get $1 for every single chore. So that means you get $1 if you mop the entire floor. So you can do 60 things around the house and get paid $60. But who's gonna do all that? Because I sure wasn't. And a lot of girls in there did not either. So you don't make money, but you do a shit ton of chores. All right. Can you make phone calls to family members? Kind of the same thing. If you guys have, it has to be court mandated. You have to have visitation rights with family members, just as visitation rights with the person you were taken away from. The reason for this being is because they don't want anything to happen to you. Now, this is the court. I'm not saying the freaking staff members, because they don't give two craps, okay? They don't want them to interfere with what you have going on or their business. So most of the time you cannot, but if so, some people will let you use the house phone to the group home, but it is monitored. You will have somebody on the other line listening to your conversation, so be aware of what you say. You may not know it, but it is being recorded or listened to. Is there a group home for boys? Yes, there is a group home for boys just as well as girls. Sometimes, it all depends. Sometimes they will take the girls group home and the boys group home, and they will mix them together and go on a trip, whether it's at a water park, a theater, and some just don't do that at all. But yes, there is boys group homes. I love this question. What did you do to be in a group home? You look normal. Well, thank you. I am pretty freaking normal. And I just want to let everybody know who ends up in a group home, you are not there for your decisions or your actions. It is your parents, okay? You guys may be thinking of facilities, a group home, and I try to explain that group homes are totally different. It's just a foster home that holds more children because there's not enough foster homes for you to be held in. You just stay there till you're 18 because either your parents neglected you, they're on any type of substance abuse, or you just weren't treated right. And that's why you get taken away from them and put into a house where you're supposed to be taken care of, when really your life is probably 10 times worse than it was before, like mine was. I'd love to make another video about how my life started and how it ended, because I haven't really went into details with it, especially my recent updates, but I think that'll be a very interesting video and maybe you guys can relate to it. And then the last question is, when do you age out? Like I said earlier, you will age out at 18, but there are things like extended foster care where you can stay until the age of 23 and get on your feet. It's a little bit different. You have adults in there now. You do get paid. I think it's like $350 a month plus whatever money the lady whose house you're living in needs. So yeah, but I recommend the PEST program, which I've spoken before in my last videos. You only need to be in foster care for 6 months. I don't think anybody understands this. 6 months. You can be in foster care for 6 months and then go back home to your family or go back home to your grandparents or whoever. As long as you were in foster care for 6 months, you are eligible for free college. You are also eligible for that free college plus $1,256 a month. $1,200 and guys, $1,200 a month for free just for going to school, only doing 9 credit hours, so that's 3 classes a week. That's nothing, okay? That pays your rent, your food, whatever else. It doesn't even have to go to that. That's just $1,256 you can put in your freaking pocket and go on about your day. So If you guys have any questions about that, please email me so I can give you more information. Also, I wanted to make clear I am part of a youth advisory group here in Jacksonville, Florida, where there's only 6 of us, but what our goal is to make changes in the foster system itself. We do network nationwide with other states and other places, but I have made an email, which is also my email on here, havenvlogs with an S at gmail.com. If you guys have any abuse in your foster home, in your group home, if you feel there is something going wrong in your group home that doesn't feel like it would in a regular home, if you are being sexually, physically, verbally abused, email me so I can stop it. Now, you can email me anonymously. I do need a little bit of information, but I don't need your own information. I need information about what's going on. You guys can also email me with any type of questions. It's so much easier for me to get back to you through email. If you guys would like to share your story and have me make a video on it, I'll also do that as well. But if you guys want more questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below on this video so I can write them down and make another video. I haven't been making videos lately because I've been busy with college and moving into my new apartment, so I am sorry for that, but I do love making videos from you guys and hearing about your stories and getting back with you. So in that case, I will see you guys soon, and if you stayed this far, thank you so much. I love you dearly, and subscribe, share this video so it can get shown to everybody, because I know there's a lot more people out there who have questions and need help. Like I said, guys, if you don't email me on these questions, I'm gonna be mad. If you guys really do need to reach out to somebody and you want to do it anonymously and talk to somebody who's been there and done it all, email me, like I said, havenvlogs11@gmail.com. I'll put it in the description below. I love you guys. Stay safe, and always remember, everyone has a story.